Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello my dear students, in this class we are going to discuss about how we can improve our communication skill. Actually, this communication, barriers to effective communication exist in every organization to a greater or lesser degree. So, organization need to take some measures to overcome such barriers and need to take some measures to improve the communication process. The first one is, what are the measures we can take? The first one is clarify ideas before communication. The person sending the message, it should be clear in his mind and about what he is saying and what is to be communicated with another person. And he should know the objective of the message in a clear perception, to whom he communicating, and the purpose to be and the message is to be communicated should clear in his mind in all direction. Then only sender can convince the message to the receiver in an exact manner or in efficient manner. So, clarify ideas before communicating. So, communicate according to the needs of the receiver. So, yes, when the receiver is framing the structure of communication, structure the message, he should not think his own level. He should not prepare the structure of the message in his own level. He need to keep in his mind the level and understanding capacity of the receiver. So, then only he can convince the message in an efficient manner to the receiver. He need to understand the understanding capacity and knowledge of the receiver before sending the message, before the communication process. Okay. So, communicate according to the needs of the receiver. Consultant others before communicating. Always before communicating with someone, better to involve some other person. Say in the organization, superiors can involve their subordinates to take some important decision or to prepare some framework for the good decision and all. So, if we consult others before communicating, then our communication process can be very effective. The message can be reached the receiver in an efficient manner and in the original form also. So, always when we communicating, when we are taking any important decision, it is better to involve the subordinates, due to which the organization can boost up the cooperation and it is kind of motivation. If the superior involve the subordinates when taking some any decision or in the communication process and all, or in framing and preparing some framework or framework for the plans of the organization and all, they can be motivated to involve with the more interest and all. So, it helps the management to improve overall performance also. So, for the better effective communication, it is better to involve others before the final communication. Be aware of language, tone and content of the message. See, the sender, when we communicating at that time, our content of message, what we are going to communicate with someone, and the languages used that should be understandable to the receiver, right? So, and the the content of the message act as a very important factor in the effective communication. So, when we are communicating, the content of the message should be very clear, and the tone of the message should not injure the feelings of the receiver. Okay. So, we should take more care about the content of the message and the languages to be used when we are communicating with someone, and the content of the message and tone of the message. See, if there is a rude message or the wrong faulty translation may directly adversely affect the communication effectiveness. If we are using some other languages which is not understandable to the subordinate, then subordinate may receive the message in different manner. So according to the needs of the people, according to the understanding capacity of the receiver, we need to communicate within the organization for the success of overall objective of the organization. So we need to take more care about language, tone and content of the message. Convey things of help and value to the listeners. See, the sender should take care about the message or the fact that message should be taken or the should be framed in such a manner that should be understandable to the receiver. Say, when we are communicating with any person, we should understand the interest level of the receiver and whether he is needed such communication or not. Simply we cannot talk with any other person, we cannot communicate. We need to communicate or we need to give any instruction according to the interest and according to the need of the receiver. So convey things of help, and we need to give a kind of respect to the receiver. We need to understand the capacity as well as interest level of the receiver, then only communication can be reached the receiver in an efficient manner. So ensure proper feedback. Say communication effectiveness, or the sender can understand the success of communication by asking a question regarding the message conveyed. Okay, so for the effective communication, sender need to take some feedback from the receiver whether he is received or understood the meaning of the message or not. In oral communication, we can observe the facial expression of the receiver, whether he is understood the message which is sent by the sender or the communicator. But in other communication channel, maybe in the written communication channel or some other communication channel, sender needs to take some other proper method of feedback to collect the opinion, whether he is received the message in a proper manner or in the exact meaning or not. So feedback helps the sender to ensure about what he is conveyed, whether that conveyed message is understood to the receiver or not. So for that reason he need to take some feedback from the receiver. Communicate for present as well as future. The information sent to the receiver, sent by the sender to the receiver, should not be self-contradictory. It means what? The communication should be according to the rules and regulations or the rules and objective of the organization. What we are going to communicate, it should not harm the objective of the organization. So the message should not be self-contradictory. See, in the sense, we need to communicate according to the needs of the organization, that our communication should help the organization by improving its overall performance. So we need to keep in our mind about the objectives of the organization and communication, and the sender, what the sender say, for example, any sender giving some superior is giving some instruction to subordinate. At that time, the instruction should not harm the objective of the organization. So communicate for present as well as future. We need to communicate, our superior need to focus on the objective of the organization. So follow up communication. Follow-up communication in the sense what? See here, in order to make communication effective, the management need to take or should take regular feedback from the receiver to know about the weaknesses of the communication, to know about some kind of weaknesses about the communication process. How they can get to know about the weakness? Say if the subordinates are successfully following the instruction which is given by the superior, then superior can get to know that yes, my instruction, so it means what, superior instructions are followed by the subordinate, then we can judge about our instruction is understood to the subordinates and they are following the instruction. If not, they need to take some measures to overcome such barriers. Okay, so this follow up helps taking proper feedback or the follow up, whether the subordinates are implementing the instruction or follow up the instruction or not, helps the management to take some measures to overcome such communication barriers. So be a good listener. Always this both the sender and the receiver should be good listeners. Attentive listener listener only can receive the exact meaning of the message. So because always sender and receiver should be a good listener, they need to listen, they should listen their views, both of their views with the attention, because this attentive listening, patient listening solve half of the problem. So both sender and receiver should be a good listener. They should listen they should listen, okay, they should listen clearly what the sender is saying and what the receiver is giving feedback exactly. So they should be a good listener, then only they can convince their views. Okay, so patience or attentive listening solve half of the problem. So these are all the measures can be taken by the management or by receiver and sender to improve the communication within the organization. So if the management is able to take these measures, then they can easily overcome such communication barriers. So organization through the effective communication, organization can improve its overall performance. It can improve the objective. It can improve the objective of the organization, or it can get success by reaching the goals of the organization.